You doing all right?
We're good. How was your time down in Florida?
You know what? Spring training game, first ever spring training game. That was pretty awesome. So,
Yeah.
everybody, as you're jumping in, welcome everybody. W Podcast Live. Here we go. We're ready on YouTube right now. So yes, I was in Florida. For those who didn't know, for almost a week. You know, what I decided about Florida and me.
What?
I'm not a Florida guy.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't
it's
blame you.
the food. There's a lot of great food there. I mean, there's so much culture that people. You just can get great food.
Hmm.
The problem I had is it's just like one giant suburb. So,
Yeah.
like, there's no quick way to get anywhere. There was someone so I was helping my wife work a little bit, and she said at one point, a coworker of hers or someone who's at the job said, "Oh yeah, I live just down the street. How far do you think that is?"
Uh, 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay, yeah. So I'm picturing just down the street is literally 10 minutes.
No, no. See, I thought you were wanting me to guess how long it took. No, yeah, down the street. I'm thinking like 5 minutes, 10 minutes the most.
Nope. 30 minutes. 30 minutes is how close just down the street is there in that part we were at, which was a good part. And it's just because it just takes forever to get
Oh
there.
goodness.
So that, and then it's hot. You know me, man. You and I are very similar. We're like, no, we want it cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but it's pretty. The food was really good. Time with Stephanie, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And so here we are. I'm back.
And, everyone's like, oh, they got beaches and stuff. I'm like, I'm not a beach guy. I've been to the beach a few times. Not something I'm like, oh man, I got to go to the beach.
Yeah, and we did. We saw a couple of different beaches, and it was fine.
Yeah.
And is great. Ran after some birds, that were there in the way. So, yeah, welcome everybody that's coming in. Dan, Pippins. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And obviously, Colin, welcome back to the show, everybody. Thanks for jumping in.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna take me to the mountains, and I'll be good.
Yeah, and you know what I decided? So the way I grew up, we didn't really go to like Florida or the Gulf or anything like that, ever, the beach. And so the first time I truly went to the beach, that was here on the 48 states or whatever, local, was on the West Coast, and it was the Pacific Northwest. And so what I pictured was what I saw in Florida, like lots of stuff, lots of people, lots of commercial, lots of hotels. And you go in the Pacific Northwest, like in Seattle, Oregon, Washington State, Oregon, like that part of the coast, and it is like a lot of it's national park, so there's nothing. It's just trees. There's a lot of mountains. There's cliffs. There's lots of hiking and mountain biking, all that stuff. And I was like, this is incredible. It's so quiet. There's not a lot of sand. It's more like rock and stuff, which I'm fine with. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it was so different. And then, so that's what I've decided I enjoy. It's also cold.
Yeah.
I don't need
same here. Like, where our cabin was, it would get in the 80s, a little bit here and there during the middle of the summer. But, 80 you can handle up there because, back here you have the humidity. 80 here, it's like, 90 some degrees with the humidity. Up there, 80 was 80.
Yeah.
And like no one up there has air conditioning.
You don't need it.
Yeah. I'd take that kind of weather over hot, sandy, whatever. I'll take the mountains and the cold and be happy with it.
Yeah. Well, so I'm glad to be back in the Midwest. Enjoy it. It's much more my speed right now. So lots of highways here. It's easy to get around. And it's walkable. Like I feel like I could walk somewhere and it's enjoyable. Like the weather may not be, but like I'm not in a suburb is what I want to say. So yeah. Well, before this is a baseball centered podcast, and we're going to get to some of that here, but you're going to get some of the bonus content on the front end for those that are joining the YouTube side of it. Have you checked out our men's tournament challenge bracket?
I did earlier because Colin said that he was back tied for first now. So
I was going to say, Colin, in the chat, man, I just want you to know you are tied for first right now, but you're the only one who has a chance to actually win it.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one who has not maxed out. So I'm just saying, man, way to go. Last year, we did the winner in our bracket challenge did pick the right champion, Kansas. There were lots of Kansas winners last year. This year, 0 champions left that have been picked. So I'm telling you, Colin, for not pick the champion and still have a chance to break 700, that's pretty good. We'll take it.
I know one of mine. I got in one that was for like a car shop around here. Winner, got
You did something
stipend for the for the card shop, and somehow I have 620 points or something like that, and I'm
place.
in the 94th percentile overall in all the brackets. I'm like, how is that possible?
Well, it's look at this. Look at this year. That's how it's possible.
Yeah, I know. I was like, any other year, you're like bottom tier.
Yeah, I just can't believe it. Even someone picked Marquette to win, and this is the year that Marquette could have won it, like over all the other
Yeah.
teams, and somehow. And then James had Texas winning. They had a shot until the very end this weekend. So, I mean, this is a wide open field, and I just, Colin, way to go, man. I think you're going to win it. You just got to get one game right. That's it.
Right? Miami beats UConn, you win.
Yeah, you win. That's it. Otherwise, it's a tie. Nobody likes to tie. So, come on, man.
Yeah.
Let's get this right.
So this is the first year since 1979 that there's no McDonald's All-Americans in the Final Four.
Take that.
You want to know why?
Why?
That was the first year of the McDonald's All-American
Okay.
game.
Wow.
Yeah. Is that crazy?
That is nuts to think that is where it's at. And I love it because there's a 9, 2 5s, and a 4 seed. So they said there were clear number ones this year. Like number one teams, Kansas, Purdue, they were actually the number one team this year. But the problem was they weren't that much better than everybody else. Or what game was it? Oh, shoot. It was this weekend's game. Big T. San Diego State, I think, played them.
Who did they beat? Holy cow. I know they beat Creighton yesterday. Jeez Louise. Oh, Houston.
Maybe it was Houston. I can't remember. Maybe it was Creighton.
No, Alabama.
Okay.
It was Alabama. San Diego State beat Alabama.
Right. And then who else? Who's the second one they beat? Creighton?
Creighton. Yeah.
So Creighton, San Diego State's defense was way better, but they also played more down low. Creighton could not make any shots. That was one of those things that, like, it was obvious.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get easy shots at times. You gotta get easy shots.
That defense of theirs is mean.
Yeah. So you gotta pick one. Who wins the whole thing?
UConn.
You think it's gonna be UConn?
The way they're playing right now, it's just they are rolling everyone.
Who do you want to win? Do you want it to be UConn?
No, I want it to be FAU.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. I'm going for it.
Give me the underdogs.
Number 9 seed. There's no way Florida Atlantic thought that they had a shot at the beginning of this year. Oh, yeah, we got a shot for sure. No.
Or I mean, to say that you could have a chance at winning 36 games.
I know. Look at this. Yeah, that's what we need. We were in that part of Florida where FAU University is, saw their football stadium, and I was like, could you imagine this city gets not only a Final Four, which they got at that point, but a championship? Man, I hope so.
So a couple of the card guys that a lot of us watch, they actually go to school at FAU.
Do they really?
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like.
And so they're pretty, they're pretty hyped about it. But
gotta be.
So this is the second largest average ranking to make it to a Final Four, and it's just under. What was it? It was just under 6 or something like that average seed.
Wow.
And I guess 2011 was the highest, and it was like almost 6.5.
Wow, 2011.
Yeah.
Who was it? Do you know?
Honestly, couldn't remember off the top of my head.
If you could have, man, that would have been it.
No.
Can you name one of the teams?
2011. I mean, trying to think of whenever. Let's say UConn.
UConn was the champion.
Okay, that was the year that was it Kimba or
yeah.
No, was it Kimba or was it Shabazz that year?
I had to check.
I bet you it was Kimba.
I think 11 was Kimba.
Yeah, then I think was it 13 was the next year they won, and it was Shabazz Napier.
Yeah, I'm
trying to remember who else was in that. There was some random teams in there. Was Butler in there?
Butler, they were the runner-ups. So you're 2 for 2. Come on now.
Now the other ones. I'm not sure if I can name the other ones.
Call in the chat said Kansas. It was not Kansas. They were not in there.
Michigan State.
No, one of them is a blue blood. One of them is not.
Okay, one is a blue. North Carolina.
Wrong.
Duke.
No. You're close.
Kentucky.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
That's the blue blood.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is that the year that they were like undefeated or something going up until the? Or maybe I'm thinking of a different year.
Oh no.
And then the other one, I feel like I can see it in my head, but
You want the team's nickname?
yeah, give me the nickname.
Rams.
Rams. Oh, VCU.
There you go. I'm gonna give you a 3 out of 4 for sure. It's pretty good. Yeah, VCU. So there you go. They were 11 seeds. So that was, 11 seeds.
Okay.
You gotta love it. They didn't win it. They lost that game. But so hopefully FAU can beat out San Diego State.
Yeah, Shaka Smart. I mean, that's where he got his name. And he went to Texas and absolutely fell flat on his face. And then they fired him. He went to Marquette and immediately was a contender.
I know. Go figure. Lost again this year, but
Yeah. Hey, you took Marquette to a number 2 seed.
I know. But you got to win.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. But I don't think anyone at the beginning of the year looked at Marquette and was like, yep, that's a number 2 seed in the tournament.
No, I 100% agree. Someone did pick them to win it all, which I like.
Yeah.
In the bracket challenge. So, yeah, that was nuts. In other news, Lamar Jackson asked for a trade.
I mean,
oh boy.
I don't honestly. I don't really. Yeah, get it. Really, they know you don't want to be there. So, did he have to officially ask for the trade? I don't know, but I don't know if they trade him.
No, I don't think they trade him. I don't think you can get. I don't think. Well, maybe you can, but
I don't know what you get for the guy.
I don't know. You have to, like, if you're the Ravens, you have to take like a king's ransom. Like, you got to get a field and what just went for the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, he's MVP, former MVP. He's still in his 20s. I'm not the biggest Lamar Jackson fan, but he is a top 10 quarterback, so you have to get a pretty decent chunk for him. Well, the problem is they don't. It's kind of like the Packers-Jets situation where no one really has any leverage whatsoever. Lamar Jackson I ain't playing, but does he really want to miss out on game checks? That's what Howard is like. He's like, it ain't happening. He ain't going to sit out. He ain't going to miss it. So the Ravens go, well, we don't want to trade you. You ain't going to sit out, so we'll just franchise you. You'll end up signing that $32 million, and we'll go on our way for a year.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a messy situation. It's just crazy. All the money. And Baltimore's making all the money too. They're not a small market team. They got a big fan base. they're doing just fine. They can't pay the guy. Who would you rather have, Dak Prescott or Lamar Jackson?
Oh, that one's tough. I think I'd rather have Lamar.
Same.
Just because at least he maybe not be as good of a passer as Dak Prescott, but he doesn't make all the mistakes that Dak Prescott makes.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to a friend about it today, and he was saying he was all about the Dak Prescott. He's a Cowboys fan, and like most Cowboys fans, we got another Lamar in the chat. I just want to point out my friend does believe the Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl.
I think you ask any Cowboys fan right now, and they say, "Oh yeah,
lock it up."
All we needed was another wide receiver. We got him, so we're good."
Yeah, okay.
You've got you have one massive hole. And his name is Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, it's a big problem. And I think last year the Cowboys had the number 1 total number of snaps by players that you were drafted and developed by.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like, oh, so that says everything that, about the management and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. It just means that you don't have injuries. Maybe, or, maybe you're just drafting guys that are good, but they're not great. Maybe that's.
Yeah, they're not big difference makers.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, not a whole lot of other stuff going on in the football world yet as we're getting closer to the draft. I think you might see 1 or 2 more trades for that top 5 within the top 5 itself. But I've heard some people talk, well, maybe Kyler Murray gets traded. I don't see that happening. They just put too much money into that. If you're sitting at number 1, who do you think right now it is going to be?
CJ Stroud.
Okay, that's who I would probably do of the group. It's the same.
Yeah, that's who I pick. Now, see, I had thought of this scenario today. And if I'm the Texans, if I'm like on the fence about one of them, and they're the next quarterback in line, say it's Bryce Young, and you're like, man, I'm not sure. The size things, concerns me. I'm not big on Levis, not big on Richardson. I take Will Anderson. I take the defensive guy. I build my defense. You've got one of the best defensive. You can though. Think about it this way: you've got one of the best defensive-minded coaches. You let Davis Mills play one more year. You know what happens? You'll have the number 1 pick in the draft more than likely.
Okay, good point. I follow where you're going right now.
Who's the quarterback next year? Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is better than any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft.
Not even
Drake May. Drake May is better than any of the quarterbacks in this year's draft. You have 2 guys that you can take next year and go, okay, we have more of a legit potential franchise quarterback in these 2 guys.
Okay, so as we go into draft prep, I want to see that happen now. At this point, I think it's a great. But then why would they have traded up? That's the one problem I have with it.
The Texans didn't though. The Texans are sitting at 2.
Yeah. But so would you then trade down, maybe a spot, right?
Well, I don't know if you can.
Go all in, right?
It depends on what the Cardinals do, because if the Cardinals stay at 3, they're taking Will Anderson. So if Will Anderson is the guy that you think, to me, he's the number 1 player in this draft. So if he's that guy, I think he, Khalil Mack type player, instant impact on the defense, can do everything. I would still stay there because you have pick at 12. So it's not like, oh man, we could get, multiple picks. And I stay there. I take Will Anderson and I ride with Davis Mills for 1 more year, or Case Keenum, whoever you decide you want to play at quarterback. And I don't like the tanking, but to me, it's the smartest decision because I don't know if Bryce Young can withstand that offensive line.
Yeah, well, and think about it. This is something the Texans have done.
Yeah.
The first pick they ever had, remember the big 2006 draft, I believe it was, they had Reggie Bush or Vince Young, or I think Matt Leinart was in it too, maybe. And they're like, I think it was just really Bush or Young, and they were like, Mario.
No, it was Bush. Everything was Bush. That's who they're taking. And then it was like the night before, it was like, they're taking Mario Williams.
Yeah, you're like, what? And
yeah,
he definitely had a better career than Reggie Bush did in the NFL.
Yeah,
so neither one really panned out like with championships, really. So
yeah, but I thought of that today, and I'm like, to me, that's the most logical scenario because even if you draft Bryce Young, you ain't competing anytime soon. Yeah. Build up that defense. That defense was atrocious. You've got 2 really good pieces with Singletary and Jalen Petrie. You throw Will Anderson in there, then at 12, if say you want to take Jackson Smith-Njigba, or say you go another defensive player, you build that defense with DeMeco Ryans as that head coach, man, you be able to get Caleb Williams or Drake May next year, you have set yourself up for success.
I think that's the move. You've convinced me, and as a Texans front office person, that this is where we're going to go, and I'm not. But if I was, I wish I know one Texans fan. I'll have to ask him. Be like, hey man, what do you think about this? I bet because he's a big guy. He's been there. He's been the fan ever since they were expanded. So that's I like that. I like that thought a lot. So in case you didn't know, W already has had multiple videos go out with his rankings for positions and breakdowns. Those will continue up until the draft, as well as more draft prep. And yes, as baseball does start this week, thank goodness, man, I got so excited. Drove by the K today, the Kauffman Center, or Kauffman Arena. Wow, there's literally all those here. The Kauffman Ballpark, whatever. And I was like, I'm just so excited for baseball.
Yeah.
So it's here this week, but we will still have football content. So make sure you're still sub.
Yeah, I just need I need a confirmation from you and people in the chat. Now, I've read multiple comments on some of the videos, like on Facebook and on YouTube, and people are like, oh, your defensive line video came out. You have no edge guys on there. There is a difference between defensive linemen and edge rushers. I'm not crazy, am I?
I think of a defensive line as a 4-3 guy or an interior guy, and I think of an edge rusher as an outside linebacker who 94% of the time is going to rush the quarterback. Yeah. So I do think there's a difference, but it's fluid, right? It's like that guy that label a wing guard, and it just frustrates shooting guard. Just say that. Like, no, he's a wing guard. Okay.
And that's the thing with this draft too, is that there's not a whole lot of 4-3 defensive ends that are. I mean, the interior part of the defensive line isn't the best, and so that's why my list, all of them are defensive tackles.
Yeah. Okay.
And so people are like, "Oh, you forgot Will Anderson. You forgot this guy. You forgot this guy." And I'm like, "There's a separate. This is D line only. The edges are like, oh, they're basically the same thing." I'm like, "No, they're not."
But not here at the W Podcast. They're not.
You look at any other
No,
draft position rankings, edge rushers and D linemen are split up.
Yeah.
The only one that I think that you could argue would be Myles Murphy, and I still see him as an edge rusher in NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't the only one going, "Oh yeah, they're wasn't everyone else was right and I was wrong." Going, "Oh no, they're two separate positions." To me, I think the exact same way you do. Right. Edge rushers are basically outside linebackers, and their main job is every once in a while to drop back in coverage, but most of the time, 99% of the time, yard rushing the quarterback.
Okay, well, I'm glad we cleared that up. Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Right.
All right. So what was the other really big, massive news that we found out today?
Oh, we hit 100 subscribers on YouTube.
Should have had music ready for that. Yeah, there we go. I'm not a music guy. So we hit over 100. We're actually at 101 now. So thank you guys, everybody who's already hit sub on the channel. And here's what you need to know about next week's episode on Monday. We are going to have the reveal for who won the signed NFL jersey. And then we will get it sent to you guys. So number one, continue to subscribe if you have not already. You can still technically, I don't know, maybe you can be interested in to win still. I'm not gonna hold you back. That's when I'll make that tough.
No, I say, hey, you're good.
So as we do the video for who won, we'll make sure we announce it, and then you'll have to DM us either on one of the social medias, just so we can get you the address. So we can, either if it's a PO box, whatever, we can send it off to you, and then you can have the signed jersey. I mean, wow.
Right. For all for hitting the button.
And you know what? And joining the chat and whatever, being the part of the conversation. We do appreciate that too. I mean, a lot of you guys in the chat just hyping us up, calling it way to go. Yeah, man, I appreciate that. We really do.
I mean, Colin, he's been in the chats like, we don't. It's not like we just go for like 20 minutes. We go for an hour and a half sometimes. And Colin is constantly in the chat every single podcast, live. So I don't, for you all that stick around, and maybe you're not, typing or whatever, you're just sitting there listening. It means so much to us that you guys are willing to take time out of your night to come and join us and just sit in the chat or, chat with us or just sit there and watch.
Yeah, no, absolutely love it. And it's what makes talking about sports so much fun, right?
Absolutely.
Lost in it.
Oh, yeah.
And speaking of which, Nikki, let's go, man.
Nikki.
The show. So we're about to start the podcast actually because we got to get into it. This is gonna be a baseball centered episode, so we're gonna go over all the news and notes. But you ready, Tubby?
Let's go.
Let us go. All right, we are starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everyone, to an exciting baseball centered episode of the W Podcast. Now, we're here today to break down the season, predictions, all those things. But you may have said, well, what about this? What about college basketball? What about NFL? We do have some bonus content, 20 plus minutes of bonus content over on YouTube. And if you didn't already know, you can subscribe to that and still be included in our giveaway of the signed NFL jersey that is coming out next week. So you still have a chance. You still have a chance to win it. So, Tubby, welcome to the show, man.
I'm so ready to talk more baseball.
Talking more baseball. I'm telling you. So I did go to my first ever spring training game this last week.
How was it?
So it was, unfortunately, here's the downside. It wasn't at the Cardinals facility. It was technically a road game, which is most of them are within like 20 minutes of each other or on the other side of the state. So within a couple hours, but in Florida in March. So, there's a lot of people there who are out of town, but what I noticed is it was a very different crowd. Like,
oh yeah.
So we went at the Nationals Astros facility, and I just bought a ticket, and the ticket that you buy, I didn't know where I was going to sit until I got there. Second row behind the dugout. Fantastic.
Oh, nice.
The downside was also on the Nats side.
Oh.
So the fans, there's nothing wrong with the fans for them. It was just, these are not Cardinal fans. These are not, maybe Dodgers fans who are different than Cardinal fans, or not Cubs fans who are different than them. Like that's just the difference that you'll notice it the more baseball games you go to. So they were just a little not as
Yeah.
into the game as much, but it was spring training. I saw Nolan Arenado had 2 at bats. Jordan Walker
Hey.
didn't play. Mason Wynn played, had some ups and downs in the game, but it was just great to have baseball.
Now, was that the game where Mason Wynn made the incredible play, or were you not there for that
That was
game?
the next day. Yeah.
Oh man,
I know. He had some just tough plays. Dusty Baker's son. Did you know he plays for the Nats? Yeah.
Yep.
He had a rough game. And the game was 2.5 hours, right? So if you watch some of the games in the preseason, at least a little bit, I think, right?
Yeah, I watched a few of them.
Do you feel the pace is different?
Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't feel the pace. When I watch it, feel the pace. At the game, I don't.
Okay.
So
I mean, I like you said, watching it, I felt like the game went by a lot faster on TV, which is probably a great thing.
Right. If you're trying to get more eyes on the game, I think that is huge. But then they're always worried, like, oh, what does it mean for those who are attending the game? Like, is it going to be worth their time? It still feels great. It moves quick enough. There were no infractions for us when we were there. Not that I even noticed. I guess we would have seen it, but it flowed great. There was no shifts. Loved that. There's a couple, not shifts, but like, hey, we're on the edge of the border for a left-handed hitter, and still some hits went by, and I'm still like, see, come on now, no shift, and we'll see that. But Michaelis looked great. I mean, he was playing a terrible Nationals team, but he looked great. He's now the Cardinal ace with the Wainwright injury, and we're going to get to that here in a second. But even today, I looked at the Cardinals lineup. The last spring training game was today for the Cardinals. I think for most teams it was. And I looked at their lineup, and guess who's in their starting lineup?
Jordan Walker.
He
got the nod today.
He did.
They said, hey, buddy, you're on the opening day roster.
I know. I'm excited for him. He did cool down a little bit. He didn't have the same explosion a little bit more, in which I expected as more tape or whatever, more guys took more awareness from the guy. So that did happen. But it shifts Carlson. The reason why they don't have Juan Soto, which I'm okay with, was Dylan Carlson, and it shifts him to more of that utility fourth outfielder spot, which is just nuts.
Yeah. And then who was it? Volpe. He got
the next one, yeah. And he hit second today in the Yankees lineup, and their starting lineup. He was hitting second. So you gotta love it when young guys.
Yeah. And then you had the one guy that we had talked about when we talked about the AL East. We talked about the Orioles. You had one pitcher that you thought you could count on, and the kid gets sent down.
I know. And that's the Orioles. They did that to more than just him too, though. So they're still not committing, even though they won, I think, 83 games last year. They're not committing to try to win it all right now, which is so frustrating, especially I think if you are an Orioles fan. Like, come on, we're on the cusp here.
Yeah, you got the young talent, and obviously you showed and you've proven that you ain't going to go out there and get the veterans. So why aren't we letting the young guys go? I get it. Grayson didn't have a great spring training, but still, what more are you going to see from the kid that had, 13 Ks per 9 innings last year in the AAA? What more in AAA are you going to see that's going to make you go, oh yeah, he's MLB ready? I
don't know. That's the same thing with other guys like Jared Kelenic. Who, maybe he can't make the jump, but this is different. Like let's see if he can make the jump. It's 13 Ks per 9 is huge.
You haven't gave him the shot to make the jump. At least Kelenic got time in the majors. Grayson hasn't got there.
There's Spencer Torkelson, same thing.
Yeah. So why aren't you giving the kid a shot? Because obviously, talent-wise, he is by far your best pitcher.
Yeah, which is
yeah. That rotation is awful.
If you didn't know that, you can go back and listen to our previous episode. I'm gonna say like 4 episodes ago where we broke down that division. But this is what I think the new collective bargaining agreement did right. Is it helped encourage teams like the Cardinals, who I'm telling you, this is the youngest player they've had to make the opening day roster since Rick Ankiel as a pitcher, right? Not the hitter that everybody remembers now, but the hitter who got the yips. So the Cardinals just don't do this. I mean, this is a guy. Chris Bryant was, I think he was a more highly touted person at this point in his career, and like, hey, he's got to be a part of it. He's got to be on the team, and they still sent him down. The Cubs did, because that was
Yep.
what everybody was doing to get that extra year. A lot
Mhm.
of that did the Cubs, but
Yeah, right.
this is a move the Cardinals typically don't do, and here he is. And same thing with Anthony Volpe. He's up now, and it's so I think we'll get more and more teams, especially that they get the compensation
Mhm.
for the draft and all that kind of stuff. I think it was a good move. It was one that most people don't know until now, like they don't
Yeah.
realize.
I was honestly surprised when I saw Jordan Walker, and it wasn't based off of a talent, ability, or what he did in the spring. I was like, man, there's a logjam of outfielders, and so are you going to bring him up, and is he going to get the at bats to get him in the groove or whatever? So obviously they felt differently, and they're like, yeah, we're going to be able to get him those at bats, and we're going to be able to enough to where we can look at him and go, okay, he's ready, instead of okay, we'll put him in the minors, let him hit for a little bit, and then maybe someone gets injured and we'll bring him up, and then he'll be on the team permanently. But
Mhm.
they said right from the get-go, let's go.
Yeah. Well, and you look at it, he hit. Where did he hit in the lineup today? I was trying to find that. Why did it scroll so fast on the screen? There it is. They had him hitting towards the bottom, but with Newtbar and Edmund, this Cardinals lineup right now, I'm telling you, it's ranked top 5. I believe it, especially if
Mhm.
Tyler O'Neill can stay healthy and can actually hit. He did not have a good spring, but
Yeah.
if you guys don't know this, you can actually listen to last year's prediction episode. Spring stats don't mean jack, okay? They don't. You look for trends, you look for velocity at times, you look for timing. That's what you look for.
Mhm.
Tyler O'Neill, that said, he had a terrible spring.
Mhm.
Like 182, didn't do much for Team Canada in the WBC. But this line, Brendan Donovan, who hits lefties, Tyler O'Neill, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Nolan Gorman, who had 30 home runs last year across baseball, Jordan Walker, like we already talked about, Lars Nootbaar, and Tommy Edman. I'm sorry, that team is deep right now.
Yeah,
I'd say,
that pitching.
what you give me a lineup. What lineup do you think is better than that one right now?
Oh man,
We'll
put me
narrow it down.
on the
NL
spot.
only first. Let's do
It,
NL because
NL
I do have one
only.
that I would be nervous about.
I think that you could throw the Braves in there, but
That's the
I think that is, to me, is more you're predicated on Ozuna hitting well and Eddie Rosario having a bounce back year.
yeah. Orlando Arcia is penciled in right now
Yeah.
for shortstop. That's the hard part too. And Sean Murphy. Will the transition really work out?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a delay, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not sold on Michael Harris. Just saying. Oh, come on, Colin. Colin just put in the chat. He goes, the Blue Jays going to wipe them in the opener. That has an incredible lineup. That's why I limited it to the NL on purpose, Colin, is because that team, the Blue Jays, with obviously when you got Vladimir Guerrero Jr., he's just so good already.
Yeah, Bichette. And,
Yeah, where is it? Why
Alejandro Kirk.
I do love Alejandro Kirk. Why is it so hard to find this team? Okay, this is an MLB.com article. I didn't create this or anything.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. But yeah, George Springer, Bo Bichette, Vlad Jr. I'm not sold on Brandon Belt. I don't know if you are, Colin, but Brandon Belt, I'm not. Alejandro Kirk is great. Dalton Varsho, Matt Chapman. I don't know. Whit Merrifield.
Chapman gets you 30 home runs.
I know, at a 210 average.
Hey, that's the norm nowadays in baseball.
It shouldn't be. It won't be after this year. I don't know. I would probably still pick the Cardinals over this one.
I think so too. I think there's a few more holes. I mean, Kiermaier, you can't consistently count on him hitting. Brandon Belt, you can't consistently count on him playing.
Yeah. What about the Yankees lineup? Is it one that you consider? I mean, you got Judge in there. How would
you got Judge and Stanton. You got possibly Volpe. Depending on how well he plays. I mean, the kid looks like he is the real deal. So you maybe throw him in there. Rizzo took a big step back last year. Especially
talking about 30 bombs and 210, man. Come on.
Yeah, you said that's not going to be the norm anymore. Yeah, but his average probably will go up more with the shift, ending. So there's probably that. But you've got guys like Donaldson and I don't know how they're really going to go about it. I don't know if Hicks is going to get much playing time. Probably a little bit until Bader is healthy.
Mm-hmm.
and then we got Peraza. I would still take the Cardinals. I think there's still more holes in that Yankees lineup that I'm not. Yeah, I just don't know if you can count on the production from those guys.
Yeah, the Mets, they've spent a ton of money. Brandon Nimmo, Starling Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso. And that's typical. I mean, on paper, that looks great. Jeff McNeil is no slouch. Mark Canha, Daniel Vogelbach,
Yeah.
Eduardo Escobar, and Omar Narvaez. So I do think that one's a little bit weaker, too.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies, I did see they took a big hit this week with first base. Derek Hall is now going to be playing most of their first bases. Reese Hoskins is done for the year. Non-contact injury. I think he tore his ACL, right? Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Brutal thing there. But they do have the pitching. As good of a lineup it can be, that's the Cardinals. That's their weakness right now. You tell me our ace is Miles Michaelis?
Yeah,
I didn't see it from Flaherty. Flaherty did not have a good spring, didn't have good metrics, stuff like that either.
Mm-mm. No, I'm still big on Flaherty. I still bad spring and all. If he's healthy, I still think that he has every opportunity to be an ace for that staff. Injuries are going to be the biggest problem for him if he can stay healthy. The Phillies rotation, I like Nola. I like Wheeler. I'm not big on Taijuan Walker. I'm not big on what was the other kid's name? Ranger
Suarez.
Yeah, I'm not sold on him. He had a good year last year. I'm still not 100% sold on him. I'm not as big, I think, on the rotation as a lot of people. I do love the 1-2 punch of Nola and Wheeler. That's one of the best in baseball. But I think the other guys, like I said, Walker, you can't count on the guy to stay on the field. And then you have such the up and down, there'd be a month where he's just lights out and then another month where his ERA is close to 6.
Yeah. That's going to be the tough part. So here's another one. This is the one that I think most people will say is the best lineup in baseball. Who do you think it is?
Padres.
Yes, that's what. So I'm going to read it to you. And then you tell me, what you feel about it. Where did it just go? There it went. Got Xander Bogaerts, Juan Soto, your favorite, Manny Machado, Jake Cronenworth, Matt Carpenter for now, Hassan Kim, Trent Grissom, Austin Nola, and David Dahl until. But now I want you to go ahead. It's a month into the season. Take David out or Matt Carpenter out or something like that, and then put in.
I mean that's a strong lineup, very strong lineup. But I feel like the bottom half of that lineup is going to be worse than the bottom half of the Cardinals lineup.
Okay.
I think the top half is probably slightly better, just because you got Bogarts, you're gonna have Tatis, Manny Machado. You've got 4 guys there at the top of your lineup where as a pitcher, you're terrified to pitch to.
Yeah, that's true.
But there's also if Soto hits like he did last year, I'm not as scared of Soto as I think a lot of people would be. If he hits around the 230, 240 mark, I'm okay. Because to me, if he plays anything like he did last year, he's hurting himself when it comes to contract talks.
No, yeah, I agree. But maybe that helps him stay in San Diego because I think they want to keep him.
Very well could.
I don't know where they're getting all this money, but I think they want to keep him. All right. So any other lineups? You want to talk about the lineup for your Dodgers? This is a year they're coming with 111 wins.
Yeah, I know the lineup for the Dodgers ain't gonna be great. The bottom half of that lineup is not gonna be as productive
until they get Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. It's just not gonna be that good yet.
Right? We're missing the 2 key pieces. We'll get in July, but
everyone else.
The bottom part of that lineup, depending on who they're starting out in the outfield, David Peralta, Hayward, Trace Thompson, whoever they're starting in those 2 positions opposite of Mookie Betts, you're going to have holes there. I think Miguel Vargas is going to be good. I really believe that he has a chance to win the Rookie of the Year. Then you got Rojas, not a great hitter. So you don't have a great bottom part of the lineup. Can DJ Martinez, or JD Martinez do something? I'm not. Hey, Hayward thing, it's the Dodgers the average didn't look great, but we saw a lot of strides and swing. And I'm like, You
All
do
right.
what you want to do. Hey, you guys are great at reclamation projects, so if it works out, great. I thought
Well,
at the beginning of the year when I saw the swing at the beginning of spring training, I was like, saw the swing. He looked like he was hitting well, wasn't striking out as much. And I was like, man, this guy, if that is the swing he has all season, has a good opportunity to maybe win and comeback player of the year. If that's
mhm.
the swing, and he's not swinging and missing a lot. Yeah, that kind of went downhill after a couple weeks.
He did go 10 for 47, so he hit 213, which is 10 points better than last year.
Yeah,
2 home runs. So his slugging percentage helped him get above what it was last year. So you're right. The change in the swing did help.
it helped a little bit. Yeah, sure. Why
Only
not?
33. He's only 33. How old do you think Goldschmidt is?
Goldschmidt is 35.
Yeah, I know. And that's just
Is he
insane.
really?
Yeah.
I knew it was somewhere. I wasn't 100%
Pretty sure
sure.
it's 35. I'm going to double check real quick, but I'm pretty positive it's 35. Wow, that's a massive ad that just popped up on Fangraphs. They get me. It's all baseball hats, and they definitely understand. That is clickbait. Oh, Cardinal hat? Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
check that. Dude, have you seen all the hats they have out there now?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, there's some amazing ones.
Hats everywhere. I know. I see a new hat every day, and I'm like, yeah, I want that one.
Yeah,
I
so
need
I
that
got
one.
yesterday, Sunday, and it was a cool hat. It was a corduroy hat, and
Oh
this
yeah,
dude,
I've seen
he
those.
he doesn't do shoe game, he does hat game, and so
Mhm.
he's put me on this 2 websites that had these hat drops, and they're just limited. There's only so many. I'm like, okay, man, I'm gonna check them out, and I did, and it's sick. He
Yeah.
had one on Sunday. It was super cool, but it was an Astros hat, and couldn't help it. I was like, man, that is a great hat, and I'm like, I hate saying it because Astros, but still, yes.
Can't be a great hat with that logo on it. Sorry.
Well, it was their old one too, so at least that helped. But yeah,
Don't
no, I didn't
don't
like it.
care. Cheaters.
Cheaters, a bunch of cheaters, man. That is true. He's from Houston, so that's why, or that area of the world. Paul Goldschmidt is 35, so there you go. Man, cannot believe it. Jordan Walker. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the Cardinals lineup right now with Jordan Walker. It's insane.
Hey,
I can't wait.
if he hits and Nolan hits, man, that lineup could be.
Well, they projected him for 14 home runs in 560 plus at bats, which I feel like is low, but we'll see.
I mean, that guy's got power. He could hit 213 and have 30 home runs.
Yeah, he's only got 11. He's only projected for 11 stolen bases right now, and I get you always project low, but dang.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people realize the size and speed that he has for the size he is.
Yeah, he had. I can pull it up real quick. Stolen bases last year, he had 22 through AA, and there are more stolen bases in the minors, but that was 119 games.
But you also got to think about the fact that the new rules.
Oh, I know.
You got to expect those are going to go up. You can't expect them to go down more. Yeah, the catchers in the MLB probably have better arms, but you also got to take in the fact that you can't pick off as much, and the bases are bigger, and it's going to be harder for them to get tagged out.
Oh yeah. So, well, how about this? You want to jump into some predictions now? Now you're leaning to predictions. What do you want to start with? Division winners, we already did, but we can go ahead and do some playoff predictions. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do some playoff predictions real quick.
All right, and everybody, we're going to take receipts on this because we did it last year and it turned out pretty well overall.
For some people,
I had Cardinals versus Yankees. It didn't work out. Both teams made the playoffs at least. Sorry, man.
Yeah. At least you got 2 playoff teams.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're gonna go. I'll keep the notes as we go. I have a note that I got you. I almost forgot about it. World Baseball Classic, good or super great? What did you think?
Super great.
Super great. Why?
It brought the world together in baseball. The big thing that got me was the TV statistics. The amount of people watching in other countries. We know that down in the Dominican and Puerto Rico and stuff like that, baseball's huge. But the fact that some of these games that didn't in the Puerto Rico, 61% of the TVs were viewed into their games, and then the one that really stood out to me was the final out of the championship. Did you see that statistic? The amount of TVs that were watching that final out?
Incredible. Was it
96? No, it was.
I saw a different. Maybe I saw a different one.
Yeah, watching that final out, Ohtani versus Trout, was 97.4% of the TVs in Japan.
That's nuts.
you can't tell me that this thing ain't growing. And then on top of that, like the average viewers for like the U.S. and stuff like that was more than double it was, years ago.
Oh, I agree. And the players are the ones who have done
Mhm.
such a good job of just pulling the emotion. Like, just, hey, this is incredible. Like, they're passionate about it. They care. It's the complete opposite of what you see in the All-Star games, right? You
Yeah.
see a guy like Giannis who cares so much about even those games that he's going to try and play really hard. No one else is. And so it just doesn't work. But everybody seems to care. Everybody seems to care. Now, they did say, Rod Manfred did say he does want more star pitchers to come out and pitch, which I think that would help. It would give the U.S.
Mhm.
even more of a better shot to win the whole thing, which I love that other teams are winning. I love when USA, and I'm pulling for USA, but I love that there are other teams around in other countries around the world that have a shot to win this thing because the players care so much. And you look at a lot of these guys, you're like, I don't know this guy's name, I don't know this guy's name, and here they are playing against and winning these big
Mhm.
games. The injuries part of it, I'm so tired. I texted you the link about Wainwright getting hurt, and the leading way they wrote the article on a site that rhymes with Pespin, we'll put it that way. They wrote it in a way that made it seem like he got injured in the WBC. He got injured in the weight room. He's 40 plus years old in a weight room. Yeah, you bet he's going to get hurt. I'm over 30 now, and I get hurt in the weight room all the time. Okay, I breathe wrong. I'm just saying. So, and he would have been in the weight room in spring training facility too. So that was so frustrating to me. I loved what Yadier Molina said when after the closer got hurt, Edwin Diaz just got $100 million. And they were like, oh, see, you shouldn't have been playing, shouldn't have been, let alone celebrating out. It matters. It matters when you're playing these games. And Molina said, listen, you can get hurt so many different ways. He played his heart out. He played for his team, he played for his country, and it's okay. Like, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah. I feel like with the injury he had, it was going to happen eventually. I mean, you popped your patella tendon jumping. You can't tell me that you're pushing off the mound. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I get injuries are part of sports though.
Yeah, 100%.
Where's the argument for the World Cup? The World Cup's worse. I mean, you've got a more physical sport in soccer, and you got all the best players coming out and playing, but no one has a problem with it.
Yeah. And that's my thing here is that we've gotten to a point with the media where when it comes to injuries in sports, that let's just throw this person out there in the Blake Snell thing. Like, let's just say when he was with the Rays, they take him out, not because of metrics, but because they're worried he might get hurt. And so they didn't take him out, but they let him pitch, right? And it's the World Series. It was game 6. He could have had a chance to close it out. Oh, but he pitched 2 extra, batters, and then, now he's hurt. We should have saved him for next year's playoff run. Like, that's what people are doing it so much, is that they will say he shouldn't have played in the championship game because we need to save him for next year's championship game. That's what it feels like for a lot of the media. Stop it. Play the game. It's entertainment anyways. Like, they're there because they're the best of the best. Kobe Bryant played through so many injuries. He's not the only one, but he's one that comes to mind, that he didn't care if he stubbed his toe. He's going to play through it. He didn't care if his knee was the size of a softball. He was still going to play, right? And there's so many guys this now that are out there that won't play for injuries, that you can't have an article mislead the reader to make you agree with it because you think the WBC is ridiculous. The WBC is incredible.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
The only thing that was bad about the WBC was Great Britain's uniforms. That was it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. I got a little side tangent there. Sorry.
And I'm all for it.
All right. So we're going to go with we went division winners already in the previous episode, but for playoffs itself, let's just pick the LCS for time's sake.
All right.
So I'm taking the first.
Are we going AL, NL first?
Let's go AL first.
I've got the Blue Jays and Astros.
Blue Jays, and Colin's going to be so happy now. Blue Jays versus Astros. Oh, man, I don't even want to hear what you're going to say on this one. Okay, so for me this year, this is tough. I want so bad to pick Seattle, but I don't trust their pitching enough. So I don't trust the Yankees pitching enough either. So I don't trust the tenure of a team like the Toronto Blue Jays yet. They won 92 games last year. And so I'm like, oh, they got to be close. So I'm still going to also pick the Astros because I think they're just unfortunately still too good. Their rotation's pretty good. Alvarez is coming back healthy. And then I'm going to pick Tampa Bay.
Okay.
And I think this will be a year where Tampa Bay puts a lot of pieces together. They make a good deep run. But unfortunately, I think the Astros, I'm leaning to them. So we don't have to make that pick just yet, but I'm going to pick. Yeah. Write this down. All right. You want to go ahead and do NL?
Yeah.
And hey, anybody that's listening, I want you to put yours in the chat as well. Okay. Go ahead and put yours in the chat if you want to.
So NL, I got the Braves versus the Cardinals.
Whoa. I like that, man. The Braves versus Cardinals, which we saw this. No, we saw the Cardinals versus Nats. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't trust
much in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't trust the Dodgers bottom part of their lineup.
But will you after the deadline?
It depends on what moves they make. Okay. It all depends on if Ohtani actually gets traded.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't. The owner seems like he's not going to trade him either, so I'm a little anxious about it. I'm also going to pick the Braves, which is boring. And I think the Cardinals should have a lineup to get them there. My biggest question mark is this is all contingent on Jack Flaherty and Jordan Montgomery and Zach Matz having a Steven Matz. Why am I doing that? Steven Matz having a good year. Like those guys have it, then I think this team has the potential. And Colin's got the Pods versus the Cardinals, the Jays and Mariners. Man, could you imagine the Jays and Mariners? How exciting would that be? Some fresh teams in there. Oh, that'd be so much fun.
Yeah.
Two incredible fan bases that deserve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then in the NL, one incredible fan base that deserves it. Does that sound bad when I say it like that?
No.
Okay, good.
I agree with you.
All right. So what do you want to do next? Do you want to do some awards or do you want to keep going down the playoff side like World Series predictions?
Let's do a few awards.
Okay. So what do you want to start with? MVPs?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do MVPs.
Okay.
I've got AL. I'm going Yordan Alvarez.
Okay. I think that's a good pick. Man, that's annoying. Like Astros over here crushing it.
Yeah.
But you're going to take him over Mike Trout and Ohtani and Judge.
Well, fact is, how many games is Trout going to play?
Okay.
And I don't see Judge having anywhere close to the season he had last year. He's not getting the 60 mark. Ohtani was the other one. I feel like Yordan's just going to mash the ball.
Okay. Well, I think you're right. I think Jordan, he could have a massive season. Is it Jordan or Jordan?
Yordan.
Okay. Well, there we go. So he's going to have a great year, and he's going to play in a lineup and a team that's going to win a lot of games. I'm going to still go with Ohtani. I think the number of games he was just better last year, and the only reason why he didn't win MVP for the second year was because of the historically great season for the NAL hitter that Aaron Judge had that took every single game and 99 wins to get there. And I think you're going to see a team with maybe 80 wins get the MVP in Ohtani. And I think that's a boring pick. If I'm going to go with an outside pick from that, I think if truly it's going to happen, then I would probably put like Vlad Jr. as an outside guy, a sneaky guy.
Yeah. No, I like that.
Okay. All right. Who do you got then?
So NL, I got Nolan Arenado.
Oh, back-to-back Cardinals, but different ones. What kind of line is he going to put up to do that, though?
I'm saying it'll be about, I'm going to say 298 batting average. But I'm going to say that home run numbers are going to be up this year.
Okay.
I'm going to say 38 home runs and 108 RBIs.
Man.
And then you throw in the defense on top of that.
Yeah. This one's tough for me. I'd love to see another Cardinal. I don't like. I saw Pujols not win the MVP enough or Gold Gloves enough to be like, okay, it's just so stinking hard to do it. So if I'm going to go with someone else, I think it would be from the other team that Braves is who I'm projecting to be a really good team. The biggest question mark for this is, can he get his average back up? But it would be Austin Riley.
That was my second guess.
Right. And he hit his first real big year outside of 2020. I guess he's been in the league for a while now, but he's hovered closer to that I'm going to say 250 is what his average for his career is 272, but his first 2 years weren't great. And then 300. If he can get close to 300, I think he should put up more than plenty of RBIs to keep up, and he'll be on the team in Atlanta, a great baseball city, great fans. I think you could see it, and he does play a really good third base. Not as good as Arenado, but he's going to be my pick, Austin Riley.
So my picks, I based it on, more potential opponents.
Okay.
You look at the Cardinals, not in a great division. So,
but it's a balanced schedule.
Yes, it is. But you're still playing 12 games or 13 games or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you're playing more in your division against the Reds and the Pirates and the Cubs. And it's the same thing with Jordan. You're playing against the Rangers and the Angels and the A's. That was I think that they're going to be able to put up more production just because of some of the teams that they'll play in their division.
I think you look at the sneaky pick, right? Or not sneaky pick, but a good pick in the chat was Trey Turner. I like that. I like that. I mean, we both best shortstop on the market this last year. That's the one that we wanted. So, all right. Well, let's move to Cy Young then.
This one I went different.
Yeah, and this is the one I think it's really hard to predict because you don't see a lot of back-to-back guys right now, anyways. But who you got?
So AL, Alex Manoah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone's gonna be happy in the chat. Okay.
I think he'll build on what he did last year. One of the top pitchers and strikeouts. I think the ERA will be slightly better this year. The wins, I think the team is going to be better this year, and so it makes him look better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so difficult. Do you want to do NL as well, or do you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, I'll do NL real quick.
Go ahead.
So NL, I'm going with Max Fried.
It makes sense, though. It makes total sense.
I think this one was a little more difficult for me because you still got Verlander in there.
Mm-hmm.
Julio Urias, Spencer Strider could, sneak up on someone with the amount of strikeouts. Corbin Burns. But I'm going to go with the team I think is the best team in the NL, and Fried puts up the numbers. The one thing that may hold them back will be the strikeout numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm going to go ahead and pick Urias. He's opening day starter for them, which, if Walker Buehler was here, it wouldn't be. But, that just speaks to how good you may have question marks in the lineup, but this team has got a really solid pitching staff, I think, especially with Dustin May coming back. Dang it, these stupid Dodgers are still going to be competitive and should win the division. But, and then eventually when you get Ohtani, what if Ohtani had such a dominant first half and such a dominant second half with the Dodgers that he won MVP and Cy Young in both? Wouldn't that be incredible?
I wonder if that's possible.
I bet it's not because you can't qualify, but still it'd be insane. Manny Ramirez almost did that 1 year with the Dodgers, so I'm just saying, steroids included. He almost did it. If I was going to put a dark horse or someone outside those two guys, did I say the AL? I put Ohtani. Sorry, I'm going to pick Ohtani. I think he's just electric. He is coming into his prime. I don't even think we've seen the best of the best for him. He's already he's hitting well over 100 miles an hour in the World Baseball Classic. He's feeling it, and I believe in what he's doing. If I was going to pick someone else in the AL, it'd probably be Framber Valdez, just because he's on a team. He's been consistent. He gets a lot of innings. His strikeout numbers are pretty good. They're not like wow or anything like that, but they're still good enough. So he would be my other pick.
My other pick for the AL is Luis Castillo.
Okay. Wow. The Mariners. Look at that. Wow. Okay. I'll take it.
Yeah.
That's good. All right, you want to do rookie of the year? I'm not going to take note on this one. This one's so volatile, but we'll hold receipts. But this is just predictions, okay?
Yeah, why not? So AL, I'm going Anthony Volpe.
Okay.
I this one I wasn't as sure on as I was the NL, but I think with Volpe getting called up, with the amount of steals the kid can have, if he can hit somewhere around the 260, 270 mark rookie year, he's got enough bop, maybe get 15 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
RBI numbers maybe the one thing, but if the kid can get on base, we saw what he did last year. I mean, first player since Andrew Jones to have the 2050 season in minor league baseball, only the second one ever. So
Insane.
we know he can nab bases, and for him to get on base enough and maybe possibly still 40 to 50 bags isn't out of the realm.
Which would be, I want to see that many stolen bases again. Could you imagine the headache it will put on teams to
Yeah.
have like just be thinking about that constantly every time? I only
Mhm.
get 2 throwovers. That's it. And he's gone.
Yep.
He's going. They're gonna have to work quick. It's gonna affect a lot of change, especially at the bottom of the lineup, which is one of the reasons why they have Judge hit 1 or 2 so often. Is he's
Mhm.
gonna be a good guy to score a sneaking amount of runs, I think, at the bottom. Gunnar Henderson, I think you could have if he gets up there with the Orioles, gets a lot of playing time, gets
Yeah.
hot, I think you could. But because he has such a high ceiling for talent.
Yep.
So he didn't have a great 2022 when he came in. I mean, he didn't hit very well. He slugged okay, hit
Mhm.
for some power, but he's one of those. But I'm curious, who's your NL person then?
This is a guy I've been saying since like before even last year ended, before last season ended. I was like, this kid will be the NL Rookie of the Year. It's Corbin Carroll. I mean,
Oh,
Corbin Carroll.
okay. I'm going to pick someone else. That's who I was going to say too.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick against
I know he can
the
still.
power numbers. And he's the fastest player in baseball.
Yeah.
So
They don't have,
he's on base. He's
yeah.
still in them.
Yeah, and he's not projected for as many stolen bases, like 20 something or 30 something. It's not very high. He could blow past that real fast before we
Yeah.
get to June. I think the sexy pick everyone's going to want to say is Jordan Walker because he's the big name guy.
Mhm.
But he's not going to. I mean, he's going to be in a lineup full of other MVPs and former
Mhm.
MVPs. I think it's gonna be tough. The other person I would put in there potentially is Miguel Vargas, just because he is with the Dodgers and he's going to get opportunities galore in that team. And the Dodgers do such a good job of putting guys in the right position to win and to just be the best version of themselves, especially when it comes to the regular season. Like they've
Mhm.
done what the Rays do, but without a budget,
Yeah.
which has been insane. And so it's really not fair. That's why 111 wins, and they probably could have won more.
Yeah. I've got 2 dark horses for the NL.
Okay.
One is another Dodger, and it's not Miguel Vargas, it's James Outman.
Okay.
If he can get enough at bats, play in center field, we saw what he could do when he came up last year. The sample size is small, but the kid's got incredible power. I think the average will be there, and he's pretty fast for a bigger guy. But my real dark horse is Yuri Perez for the Marlins.
Okay. Really?
Pitching wise, it may be a little bit harder for him to get up there because they do have some solid pitchers. But there's a guy like Johnny Cueto. I don't know if he'll,
No.
last in that rotation. And Jesus Luzardo, he's had all the opportunity. He was high, prospect.
It's
Just
13.
never lived up to it. And so there's potential he could drop out of the rotation. I think we'll see Yuri Perez in the rotation before, I think before we even get to June.
Yeah.
And the kid is electric.
Yeah.
18 years old. Was he 6'6", small, wiry frame, kind of built like Tristan McKenzie, but the velocity and the pitches that he can, pull together, I think he could be a real dark horse for that award.
Yeah, and neither of us picked Sandy Alcantara, who is probably, one of the most consistent best pitchers out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nothing against him. He won it last year, and I think remember the year that Felix Hernandez won it with like a 13-12 record, and the team wasn't making the playoffs. Obviously, he didn't win it the next year, right? It's just so hard to do it 2 straight years with a team that's bad. So that's why one of the reasons why I'm not picking. And he's one of the few guys I would own his jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a Marlins fan by any means, but I love the way he plays baseball.
Yeah. That was my reason why I didn't pick him, because it was like they're not going to be in the contention. And does the baseball, the writers want to give it to him again with a losing team, even if he is as dominant as he was last year? I feel like there's going to be a guy like Max Fried that'll be maybe just, a tick below, or Julio Urias maybe a tick below, but they're going to be on better teams. Because I think if there was a guy last year that was close to him, that he probably would have lost just because of the team aspect of it, that they may go, oh, well, look how much better he made their team, But he was so dominant last year that there's no one close to him in the NL.
Yeah, last year so dominant and made $3.5 million.
Jeez.
He's going to get up to 17 in 2026 before he has a club option for 21, which they'll probably pick up or trade at that point.
All right,
but he's not a free agent until 28.
Quick trivia. You brought up contract, and I saw this one. You may have seen it, so it may not be hard. Do you know who the fourth highest salary player is for the Reds?
Yes, I saw this. I don't remember who it is. Hold on. Let me think. Who was it? I literally saw this. King Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
Nailed it. There it is. What an idiot team. What are you guys doing with these delayed, deferred? And they're not paying anybody any money this year.
And it's $4.5 million.
That is what's sad.
And that's your fourth highest salary on your team.
Yep. That's
wild.
Bad. That is wild. And this year, there's only one team above 300 million, the Mets. Then there's 5 teams above. Can you name the 6 teams above 200 million? Can you name them?
Let's see. We got Yankees.
Yes.
Dodgers.
Yes, they're 5.
Padres.
Yep, they're 3.
Phillies.
Yep. Missing 2.
Missing 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if they're there. I'm trying to think other big. I feel like I'm missing a pretty obvious one. Yeah. I don't know if the Astros are there. I'm gonna say the Rangers.
No, Rangers are close. The Rangers and Astros are both top 10. They were 8. The Braves were number 8. Think bad contracts. Think really bad contracts, and they're not the Nationals.
I was gonna say the Nationals.
You're definitely thinking the Nationals.
I was like, wait, what? Man, really? I'm blanking. Is it the Red Sox aren't up there? Are they?
Mm-hmm.
Say, I didn't think they had enough.
So the Toronto Blue Jays, they're not the bad contract one. They're up.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man, why am I blanking? Bad contracts.
10 years, 240. 8 years, like 240. Best player in baseball. Best players in baseball.
The Angels?
Yep.
Anthony Rendon. Yeah.
There's the one. The bad contract I was saying was Pujols. I mean, he didn't.
Yeah.
10 year, 240, but yeah. The Washington Nationals salary this year is at 23rd in the league, and there's $78 million. Of that $78 million, 24 goes to Patrick Corbin.
Jeez.
And 23.5 goes to Steven Strasburg.
God, that's gross.
$48 million going to those 2 players.
And one probably isn't going to pitch at all this year.
Yeah, one's shouldn't.
One shouldn't.
So, we both picked the Cardinals, I think, to make the CS. They are below league average at 140.
Yeah,
10
I
million.
can see that.
Yeah, so I think
the Rockies a lot of
above league average. Just so you know, the Rockies have done everything they can, and they're above league average by 15 million.
Chris Bryant.
Yeah, but still,
Chris Bryant.
Man, that's terrible. All right, I'm getting off there. So, all right, so we got some predictions on those players. Are any other big player that you're excited to watch this season? Maybe they're in a new uniform. Like you got obviously Max Scherzer alongside Verlander this year. Again, first time since they were with Detroit. You got
Trey Turner.
You're excited to see Trey Turner as a Philly.
It's not. I just like watching Trey Turner play baseball. Honestly,
that's true. He does have.
It's the fact that the guy does everything.
Yeah.
The glove maybe a little bit lacking, but he's still a solid defensive shortstop. Not a solid second baseman. Solid defensive shortstop.
Yes.
But the guy can hit for average, hit for home runs, and then just the base running ability. If this guy doesn't have 60 stolen bases this year,
yeah,
he needs to have a talking to, because he could take any bag he wanted, just about any. Don't matter who the catcher is now, since Yadier Molina is in the majors. he could steal pretty much on any catcher he wants because he's that electric on the base pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So speaking of catchers, I'm very excited to see Wilson Contreras as a Cardinal. I'm hoping he is great. He didn't have a huge spring training, but I'm hoping it's a better lineup, one of the best lineups he's ever played in. But the other thing is he's going to get to play with a team that wants to win every single game. And not saying that the Cubs didn't. I just don't think they did. And I'm biased, but it's just so intriguing to think what will it look like not having Molina out there. So I'm excited that they did make a good move there, a move that I'm excited. And it was the biggest deal really in the offseason since Matt Holliday.
Yeah, it
Cardinals
really was.
This way. If I had to pick someone who was not in my team's uniform, for sure, I think Trey Turner is a great pick just because he is so fun to watch. And I would have probably said Correa just because but if he would have ended up in a bad team like the Mets, because I would have been like, man, the Mets are just I can't imagine like how this is gonna work out. But he's not in a new uniform.
No.
So I will say Verlander, because I think he has a potential to win a Cy Young.
Cy Young?
Yeah, Verlander.
Oh, I thought you were saying Correa. I was like, I don't think they're gonna let him pitch.
Yeah, with your response, I was like, he didn't hear. I didn't say it clearly, I guess. But,
okay. No. Okay, I was like, he's going Ohtani, huh? He's gonna pitch and hit, I guess, huh? Sounds good.
100%. So that's who I'm seeing as odds-on favorite there. Right now, Juan Soto is the leading candidate for NL MVP. I don't know if you know that. AL MVP, Shohei Ohtani, but then Aaron Judge, Mike Trout. Julio Rodriguez is the first other name that you'd look at. Soto, Betts, Acuna, Machado, Alonso, Arenado. There we go. Arenado was on there. Cy Young, right now they have Jacob deGrom, which I think is ridiculous. I would not take that bet. Dude's not going to qualify innings. But they got Garrett Cole. That's a boring one. Shane Bieber. Ohtani's plus 1,200. I think that's worth it.
Yeah.
And Luis Castillo's on there too.
Is he?
Yep. Verlander, Burns, Scherzer, Urias, Spencer Strider. Max Fried there. There you go.
A lot of times there's just sometimes people just jump out. And so I went more out on the ledge, with my Manoah. He's probably somewhere close to the top 5 in the AL, I would think, odds. Castillo is another one that I think has a good shot. I think it's kind of bounced back from what I was saying about, Yordan Alvarez. Going to play some bad teams. And if he starts 3 or 4 games against the A's or the Rangers and the Angels, there's a good shot that he's going to boost those numbers pretty good.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this, and then we'll do World Series predictions at the end. So I got one other thing, unless there's something else yet. But we're going to do, who do you think is going to lead the league in the 3 big categories? So we'll have league leader and average, do that. But we'll do baseball. We're not going to do the league itself. But who's going to lead the league this year in batting average, the entire baseball world?
Like a single player or a team?
Yeah, player. Last year, Jeff McNeil at 326. Freddie Freeman was 325. Goldie, 317. He probably could have won the whole thing had he not had a terrible 6 weeks. But yeah, so there you go. And he also had Aaron Judge and Luis Urias round out the top 5. Could be a newcomer. You only had 11 people who qualified with a 300 or higher batting average. 11.
That may be higher this year. I
hope so. Even just let's see here. Yeah, so you're looking at 10 years ago. We had how many? 10 years ago, we had 23 people.
Yeah.
In 2002, there were how many people? Wow, more. We had 35. So it's gone down about 10 every 10 years. Anyway, sorry, random.
I'm going to go Freddie Freeman.
I think that's a good pick. Freddie Freeman is so consistent. He's not going to hit 40 home runs, but he's going to hit 40 doubles, and he's going to make a lot of contact. So I would probably pick him. If not, all Luis Urias does is hit the ball. He doesn't do anything else besides hit the ball, singles, doubles, an occasional 4-bagger, but that's it. So I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Plus, he's in a lineup with Minnesota.
Yeah.
He's going to have plenty of in that division.
He's in Miami.
Sorry, Miami. My bad.
Yeah.
So he's going to face better pitching this year. So, but he hits. He hits really well.
He hits. Yeah.
So that and Yordan Alvarez. could be a sneaky one. Could you imagine a guy like him leading the league in average?
Yeah.
It's like Aaron Judge leading the league in average.
I think people they look at Jordan Alvarez and they go, "Man, he's a power hitter," but
Jim
the dude is just a really good hitter, is what he is.
Man, the Dodgers really messed that one up.
Yeah, we did.
Could you imagine him in that lineup? Dude's only 25.
Yeah, freaking Josh Fields.
Hey, man.
Gosh.
All right, so that's the league leader in average. That's kind of the boring one. Who do you think leads the league in home runs this year?
My AL MVP pick, Jordan Alvarez.
So that's who I'd want to, but his career high is 37 from last year, but his career high in games is 144. Last year he only hit 135. He's already been hurt this year. He is healthy now. He even played in the outfield. So that's my only fear for it being him.
I'm still sticking with it.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to argue with you. I think the easy one is probably going to be Aaron Judge. Will he hit 62? Absolutely not.
No.
But could he hit 45? He's hit over 50 twice. So I could see pushing the 50 number again. And how many times have you seen Kyle Schwarber hit 50? How many times have we seen Mike Trout hit 50? How many games is Mike Trout going to play? Pete Alonso. We know what Pete Alonso can. Dude can absolutely mash the ball. But at the same time, he's hit 50 one time, and it was 2019 when the ball was juiced as well. So since then, 40, 37, and 16 in the shortened season. So
that was my other pick, was Pete Alonso.
I think it's a safe pick. But so how many home runs will be the most?
I'm gonna say 46.
Wow. I feel like it's down. I mean, there was only 2 people who hit 46 last year, but 62 really carries it.
I mean, I think there's going to be more guys in the 30 range than normal. I think especially some of these left-handed hitters, maybe with the shift, they're not going, oh man, if I don't hit a home run, I'm out. And so maybe it eases them. And a guy like Jordan Alvarez could be that type of guy. I mean, we saw how many home runs he hit, against the shift and all that. So maybe it eases their mind going, okay, I can just try to barrel the ball and I don't have to, and make sure I hit it out of the park, or maybe hopefully hit it oppo and get on base. So now it maybe eases them in the box and they go, okay, let's just try to barrel one and see what happens. And maybe they hit more home runs because they're more free swinging.
Hopefully. Last year, speaking of people who hit over 30 home runs, last year we had 20. I think it's 20. No, it's just over that. 21. Rhys Hoskins won't be doing it this year. But one of them, Rowdy Tellez, hit 35 home runs, had 85 RBIs, and his WAR 0.8. Yeah. Incredible. That's just that bad at defense. And it matters. It really does matter this year. So we'll put that out there. I think I'm going to say 47. We'll go one more than you played that game. But I think it'll be Judge. I think he pushes. I think he battles tries to get close to 50. He's probably the one who hits 47. Not super sold on Schwarber. You know what I don't like about ESPN's website now?
What's that?
They don't have average on here on stats. Even from last year, they have games, at bats, runs, hits. All the base hits, walk, strike, stolen bases, and then it's OBP, slugging, and OPS.
Gross.
So I know. I agree. So, all right. So let's go stolen bases. Who leads the league in stolen bases and how many?
Oh, how many? I didn't do the how many thing. I was torn between 2 people.
Okay.
2 guys.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt.
Okay. Last year he had 30 and he was 6th in the league, so I think that's good.
And then the other one, you're gonna like Tommy Edman.
Tommy Edman. He slowed down last year a little. He quick out of the gate and then he slowed down. I think you're right. This year, if they get the green light, he'll go. 32 last year. It was 4th. I'm
gonna say someone gets the 50 mark. I'm gonna say, yeah. I still hope so. I hope people are more aggressive. And part of me wonders if it's gonna be maybe they're still a little hesitant and the first year maybe not as many stolen bases, but more than the year before, because all the spring training stats, everything has pointed to there's going to be quite a few more stolen bases this year than there was last year. I mean, the spring training, it was like well over double of what it was the year before. So I think we'll see a lot more. I'm going to say Bobby Witt, and I'll be 56.
I'm trying 56. Man, that'd be awesome. I'd leaned Trey Turner, and I'm gonna say
Okay.
he's gonna push the. I'm gonna say like 53, 52. I want to say 60, but I don't see it happening. But I think he pushes the low 50s for sure. And Trey Turner. The other one I was gonna say is Cedric Mullins. I just don't know that he'll have enough opportunities necessarily because
Mhm.
he's on a team that's not great right now. But he's gone up each of the last 2 years. His attempts have gone up each of the last 3 years. So he's kind of my dark horse guy. I'd love to see Tommy Edmond do it. I think there's a lot of, Corbin Carroll. We've already talked about him. He's going to have a
Yeah.
great opportunity there too in that lineup. So,
Julio Rodriguez.
there's another good one. I'm telling you, exciting, and stolen bases are going to bring back a lot more viewers to the game too.
Absolutely.
Come on now. All right. So then now we have lowest ERA.
Ooh. This one, I'm gonna go with my NL Cy Young Award winner, Max Fried.
I think that's fair. Do you think it's sub 2?
Sub 2 now.
Okay, sub 2.5.
I think it's gonna be right around that. I'm gonna say, I'll say 2.47. We'll just throw a number there.
2.47. It's 2.47. I like it. I think because there's a DH. Usually, I used to always lean towards the NL. I mean, there's so many years where Kershaw was sub 2, and it was just ridiculous. I don't know. I don't believe that DeGrom can do it long enough to qualify with 160 plus innings. So otherwise it would probably him. I would say I think there's going to be someone who's going to get around 210 or 220, right around that range. Who is going to be? Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's Max Scherzer. I don't know that I trust Justin Verlander necessarily because the division he's in is much tougher now. I mean, it really is. The schedule's more balanced now, so he's going to have even more competition than he did again with the Astros' weak division outside of Seattle this 1 year. So I would go with him. I don't know. It's just tough. I always want to say a Dodger. Give me Julio Urias. That was my pick. I just could see it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
They're just so good at utilizing the weapons. And JD Martinez is one of those guys this year. I'm terrified of what he's going to look like with that team.
I'm hoping we see the MVP, somewhat close to MVP form of JD Martinez.
Yeah.
To really help that lineup because, like I said, if he doesn't hit, you got 4 or 5 guys. You're like, okay, we're good. Then the bottom, 4 or 5 guys, you're like,
yeah,
what are we getting?
Yeah, I would say with DeGrom, I wouldn't be surprised if he leads. Like maybe he gets like 100 and he leads in strikeouts. I wouldn't be surprised about that. Just because he strikes out so many guys. I think for him, he should really just, hey, you know what? Don't throw it 104. Throw it 98. Maybe that's the move instead. But we'll have to see if he can figure that part out. The next one. I mean, do you have any other stats that you want to go predictions on?
RBIs.
Yeah. Who do you think leads?
I'm gonna go with I think maybe a wild dark horseman. I'm gonna go Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker. Why is he all over the place for everybody? Everybody loves Kyle Tucker.
I feel like, I mean, it is spring, but man, the way he was sitting for Team USA, if he can, and the way he's hit towards the end of the year, especially in the World Series playoffs, if he can take that into what he was doing last year, we may really see Kyle Tucker unleashed finally. I mean, everyone's been waiting for it, and then the shift rules are going to help him out being a left-handed hitter. He's another guy that 30-30 season is very well in the realm of happening for him. So could he get somewhere around the 115 RBIs? I think is very, very legit chance.
Yeah, I want to lean towards a team that's going to have that typically has someone that's over 100. So Arenado's one of those guys. He's had over 100 many, many times. 130. Obviously, he was for Colorado for some of those, but last year it really felt like he hit the stride to do it. And with the lineup that the Cardinals have, I think he should have every opportunity as an MVP candidate, like you said, to get that high number. And I would say like this year, I'm thinking like 120 is probably the number. Last year Judge had over 130, and I mean it's 62 bombs to do that. Did you see him playing left field this last week?
I did not.
Yeah, had a great play, great throw off of a bounce off the wall. It was great. So the dude is just so good. So I'm going to say him or Aaron Judge. Both of them should push that 120 mark.
My other one was Freddie Freeman once again.
Really, how many times has he hit over 100 RBIs?
Honestly, I don't know, but I feel like that Freeman, it's going to be Freeman and Arenado for the MVP in the National League.
Yeah, he last year he hit 100 RBIs. And the thing is, he has such a good top half of the lineup, and he
Yeah.
hit so well. He should have every opportunity. He had 199 hits last year. The only other year that he's hit twice. 2013 was the first time he had 109, and the other time he had 121 RBIs. You guessed it, in 2019 with the juice ball. So we'll see. But I think that's a good pick with the Dodgers lineup that they have at the top. But
Yeah,
but no one's believing Juan Soto or Manny Machado or any of those guys.
Nope.
Okay, just don't believe them.
Honestly, I'm probably one of the few people watching baseball that I'm not completely sold on Soto right now, and it's not the fact that he doesn't have the ability to be one of the best players in baseball, because he absolutely does. It's what I see from him right now is what we saw from Bryce Harper, where he had the first two seasons where you looked at him and you're like, okay, this is the real deal. And then he had about a 3-year stretch, right in the middle of his career, 23, 24, 25 years old, where he not really tailed off, but never didn't really come close to the potential that we saw. And I think that's what we're seeing from Soto right now, is that he's still trying to find everything as he's grown into a player. And so maybe a couple years from down the road, we see the unleashed, like we saw Bryce Harper, where multiple MVPs. But I think just right now, we're seeing him in somewhat of a slump, trying to just completely figure everything out.
Yeah. Well, that's a good comp from what we're seeing, and the literally same, almost the same timeline. For the most part, the first couple of years. So, what do you think about the biggest team that would be a bust this year? And this is relative. Like teams, like even I think the Orioles could be a bust this year because they had 83 wins. Everyone was excited about them this year. They could win 78 games, 73 games. That's a bad back-to-back season year. And that's bad.
Yeah.
So, who do you have as your bust team?
The Phillies.
Whoa, the Phillies. Are you doing this based off of World Series expectations and signing Trey Turner, or are you doing this based off of 80-something wins last year and they're going to miss the playoffs completely?
I'm going off of everyone is expecting them to push for the World Series.
Okay.
But would I be surprised if they miss out because a team maybe like the Brewers sneaks up and has a better year than we're expecting, because they have the pitching to do it. If the hitters are there, then they're going to be a tough team. I feel like, you take Rhys Hoskins out, we're not quite sure when Harper's going to be playing again. And Darren Hall and, Alex Baum, all these younger guys, can they really produce like they did at the end of this, year last year into the playoffs? Can they keep that going forward? Is there enough help there for Trey Turner and Real Muto? Can, Castellanos get back? And like I said earlier, I'm not big on the pitchers outside of Nola and Wheeler. I don't think the bullpen is a whole lot better than it was last year. I mean, you're counting on Sir Anthony Dominguez to be your closer. I think is a scary situation bullpen wise. They try to get a few guys. I don't know if it helped a whole lot. And like Ranger Suarez, I'm not big on. I think Andrew Painter, that hurt them, that he was potentially that back end of the guy that could see some time here towards the middle of the summer to help out, Wheeler and Nola. He has the torn UCL, and now they're trying to hope that he doesn't have surgery, but young guy, it's more likely going to end up that way. So I think that's a team that we could see them slide early on like we did last year and have a tough go of it until we see Harper get back and maybe one of those other guys. I just feel like maybe they won't be able to bounce back as fast and as strong as they did last year, and we see a team like the Brewers sneak in that final wild card spot.
And yeah, Brewers were competitive down to the wire last year, that wild card spot. But I wanted to pick two teams, and I wanted to pick one. I wanted to pick the Padres and the Mets, and I'm going to go with the Mets only because they set themselves up for this. They spent over $300 million. They almost spent more to get Carlos Correa, and then this year they already saw Diaz go down. And I just don't think they can live up to the expectations. And so by bust, I mean they're probably going to push 90 wins, but that's not $330 million plus is a lot to pay for 90 wins and probably not winning the division. and a very competitive division at that. So that's why I'm going to say them. I do think they make the playoffs, but I think it's not a great year. I'm not picking them to make a deep run in the playoffs despite having that great rotation. We'll see. Well, top end rotation, put it that way.
Yeah, those are my other two teams that I was considering, and I figured if I picked the Padres, everyone would be like, "Oh, it's because you're a Dodgers fan." But
I almost picked them. I do think that they're just gonna be good. I think the potential is there for them to win the division this year, just because it's until the Dodgers make the moves they're gonna make, it's just there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I still think the Dodgers win that division, but would I be surprised if the Padres do? Absolutely not. Just because I'm not completely sold on the Dodgers bottom half of that lineup. I think the starting pitching will be fine. I think the bullpen will still be lights out like it has been the last few years. But it's those 4 or 5 guys, the 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters. What are we getting?
Yep, 100%. You have a sleeper team.
Sleeper team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Arizona Diamondbacks.
I think that's a good pick. I really like that pick.
That was the team. When we talked about the divisions, that I said if the pitching can match what the potential is for the hitting, we see it because they're not going to be an easy out. The offense is going to be there. I think we see like Corbin Carroll, Alex Thomas, and my guy that I'm probably leaning towards, for the comeback player of the year, Kyle Lewis. That outfield, along with Moreno and Ketel Marte. I just feel like there's a lot of potential with the offense. Now, if they can get the pitching right in the bullpen, they're a team that you could see possibly push for that final wild card spot, depending on what happens with the Phillies and the Brewers and a couple other teams.
Yes. I'm going to pick the Rangers. A little bit hesitant, but I think this could be the year that they start to put some of it together with the DeGrom at the start of the rotation. While they have him, I think he's going to set them up to succeed. So I'm going to pick the Rangers, especially with a slightly more open division now that Verlander's gone and the Astros don't have quite as stout of rotation. I could be wrong. The Astros could be incredible again this year, but that's who my sleeper team is. Who do you got winning the World Series against who?
I've got the Braves over the Jays.
Braves. Well, thanks, man. It was a good run. We had a good shot. The NAP, it's great. Great season. No more Cardinals.
Yeah. No.
Over Jays, right?
Yeah. I don't know. There's something about the Jays this year. And, I did this last year, and it could blow up in my face. So, Colin, I'm sorry if it does.
It did. But, it's division too.
Yeah, same division. I like the pitching. I think the pitching, you've got Manoah, you got Gosman, you got guys there that, Bassett is a new, someone they brought in that really helps. He's a really good third starter. And then say on top of that, if Berrios can do anything different than he did last year, that's a 4 starters that is going to be tough. The offense is going to be, I think, good enough. Depending on what happens with, Kiermaier and Belt. I think Barcia was an incredible, get for them. So I think the offense will be there. I think the pitching could be there. I think the bullpen is sneaky.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Braves and the Astros are the two teams that you look at and you're like, there's the most complete teams in baseball. And I think the Blue Jays find a way to knock the Astros out in the CS, and the Braves will do what the Braves probably should have done last year.
Which was win it all, yeah. I do have the that's true. I didn't even think about that. Mike just put in the chat that Toronto's got an updated stadium outfield that should even help the Jays too a little bit there. So I did forget they did the whole reno this year. I appreciate that. We're going to throw that in there. Now, for me, I'm going to go ahead and I would love to pick the Cardinals. I really would, but I don't see it happening. They haven't been to the World Series since 2014. 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Giants made in 14. 2013 lost to the Red Sox, but I am going to pick the Braves over the Rays. I do think the Rays will figure. I know I can't pick the same one as you, and so I have the Rays. I think they'll be sneaky. I 5-game series maybe at best in the World Series. This is a very good deep team that they have in Atlanta, and I think it'll be the third out of 4 years where the NL East wins the World Series. That right now it's been one of the best, most complete divisions all across the board. So
no, I agree.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's the predictions of the show. How excited are you? How much baseball are you going to watch Thursday to Sunday?
A lot.
all of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching baseball. I'll probably have a game on the TV and then a game on my phone.
Got two Cardinals. You gonna watch Nicholas?
I'm
Yeah.
a whichever's on TV and I'm able to watch. That's not blacked out.
Hey, man, Colin's saying you got to watch the Blue Jays game. I don't know who the Blue Jays are playing, but I feel like maybe you're right. Yeah, it's gonna be some trash next week's episode if the Cardinals win or they get swept. I hope. We'll see. I'm hoping to watch a lot. I'm very disappointed the Cardinals aren't playing on Friday. I know they do it because of the weather, but they have opening day on Thursday, day off for out possibility of bad weather, and then they play again on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to watching it. Thursday's gonna be tough to watch. It's at 3:00 Central Time. I'm right in the middle of my work day. How am I supposed to do this? So we'll see.
You got it on the phone underneath the desk.
Right there you go. Just I'll put it in the little corner.
I'm still doing my work, okay?
Yeah, we'll see. But it's going to be a great season. Baseball season is kicking off. So stick with the W Podcast, and we will stick with you. We'll talk all things baseball. Football still coming up. You know it's not going to drop to the back burner. We're still going to bring it up probably a lot in bonus content over on YouTube. So if you have not already, this is your weekly reminder. Go ahead, head over to YouTube, subscribe. You still, as of today, you can get entered in to win this free signed NFL jersey of who, Tubby?
Jonathan Abrams.
I mean, this isn't like a no-namer, right? That's the thing. Like, come on now. This is a legit player. This is a guy.
Yeah.
This is
former
not
first-round pick.
This is a real dude here. So you want to get in on this. So subscribe. You can turn on those alerts. You can join the chat every single week. Be a part of the podcast because you guys are what make this so much fun that we get to do this each and every single week. So thank you guys so much for the support. And we're on our journey now to 250 subs. 250.
250. Oh boy.
All right. Well, till then, let's play ball. All right. That's where we're going to end the show. Let's play ball. Actually, I hate that. You know what we're going to say? Till then, we'll see y'all next week.
See ya.
That was terrible.